Russia has drawn a hard line in Europe's energy battle. Gas exports through Ukraine have officially come to a halt. This isn't just another pipeline dispute, it's the end of an era. For decades, the pipelines running through Ukraine symbolized Moscow's dominance over Europe's energy supply. But as the clock struck midnight on January 1st, the taps were turned off for good. A long-standing transit deal expired, and in the shadow of war, neither side saw room for compromise. Once accounting for half of all Russian pipeline gas to Europe, the Ukraine route is now silent. Gazprom confirmed the move, citing Ukraine's refusal to extend the agreement. The Nord Stream lines under the Baltic Sea, destroyed in mysterious explosions. The Yamal-Europe pipeline through Belarus, also out of commission. This isn't an isolated move. Moscow has also stopped gas supplies to Moldova, citing unpaid debts. Once part of the Soviet Union, Moldova now faces an uphill battle to keep homes warm and factories running, as its gas use must be slashed by a third.
I feel we're going into a crisis that will be very difficult to solve at this moment, and I don't really see a way out of it, and it worries me. Price increases are one thing, but when there is no gas at all, that's something entirely different. There will be no heating, no lights, so we're entering a very difficult year.
There is a risk for those in Transnistria to emigrate towards Chisinau or some better developed counties in Moldova or cities like Blady or Strasini, like when the war started in Ukraine. We know how to handle a crisis, but regarding power and gas, it is the first time we face this. So maybe, economically, we won't know how to manage this. But I hope that the government, the rest of the people, will be good and receptive, because it is the first time we face this, and our holidays are a bit affected, to be honest.
For Moldova, the cost of non-payment is steep. Already burdened by rising energy prices, the cut leaves the small nation scrambling for alternatives. The timing, midwinter, isn't just inconvenient, it's strategic. While Ukraine and Moldova grapple with the fallout, Russia has shifted its focus. Gas still flows through TurkStream, a pipeline under the Black Sea. Running under the Black Sea, it delivers gas to Turkey and onto Central Europe, keeping Russia's diminished energy ambitions afloat. Hungary and Serbia, key customers, remain reliant on this lifeline.
We will not continue the transit of Russian gas. We will not give them the opportunity to earn additional billions on our blood. Any country in the world that could receive something cheap from Russia, in the end, tomorrow, in a month, in a year, will become dependent on the Russian Federation. This is their policy. That's why we won't transit Russian gas anymore.
For Ukraine, this decision comes at a cost. The nation faces an $800 million annual loss in transit fees, a heavy blow in the middle of a war. Moldova, too, is feeling the squeeze. The tiny nation now scrambles to cut its gas use by a third to cope with the supply crunch. As Europe braces for a brutal winter, temperatures are set to plunge well below freezing in cities like London, Paris, and Berlin, further straining the continent's gas supply. With gas reserves already running low, the cold snap will increase demand for heating, forcing Europe to burn through its backup supplies. Meanwhile, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico has made it clear that he sees the gas cutoff as a significant economic threat to Europe's energy stability. Fico criticized Ukraine for letting the deal with Russia expire, calling it an absurd decision and warning of severe consequences for Slovakia's economy. He even suggested that Slovakia might cut its backup electricity supplies to Ukraine in response.
I'm surprised at the vehemence of the response, where he basically ruled out any notion that Ukraine could transit virtually any gas, because it's still some notion that any gas will go through Ukraine. It'll just be Russian gas. Absolutely ruled it out, and came up with suggestions that I find absurd. For example, that he'll only agree to it if we don't pay until the end of the war. He'll give you gas for free.
As the energy battle intensifies, Russian President Vladimir Putin has hinted at a potential alternative route for gas to Europe through Poland. Putin stated that Russia's gas supply to Europe could continue via the Poland route should the conditions align, implying that Europe still has access to Russian gas through other pipelines if negotiations shift.
Regarding agreements in the energy sector, we have always supported supplies and the depoliticization of economic matters. We have never refused to supply Europe. Have we refused? I've said it 1,000 times, I can repeat it. Poland closed the route through its territory. There is an active route. No one has disrupted it. There have been no explosions. It's functioning. All they need to do is press a button, and it will start flowing through Poland. It's called Yamal Europe, and it runs directly through Poland. Please turn it on tomorrow, and we will supply.
Meanwhile, Europe has already moved on. Alternative suppliers, renewable investments, and strategic reserves have softened the blow. Nations like Slovakia and Austria secured new deals, leaving Russia with a shrinking slice of its former energy empire. From 35% of Europe's gas supply to a dwindling trickle, Russia's energy dominance is fading fast. The pipelines are quiet, but the story isn't over. As Europe and Moscow redraw the energy map, this latest chapter signals a volatile year ahead. Russia's gas cut and Europe's push for new energy sources are reshaping the continent's energy future. The next few months could bring more challenges. As Europe adapts to the gas crisis, its future energy security depends on how quickly new solutions can take hold. The impact of Russia's moves will continue to be felt.